an 801 number.
Jared, why don't you tell us who that was?
Hello. Are we live?
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Should I play the money or the music? What?
Are we
I just said, are we live? And he said, yes.
And then before that, I said we're going live.
We're live.
in 3, 2? Did you count us in?
Yes,
Ready,
I
set,
did.
go.
I did.
Welcome to Student of the Gun Radio, guys.
Do another count in, Zach.
All right.
But we're already live.
Yeah, we're already live. Okay. The prima donna insists on another count in.
Yep.
We're going live in 3, 2.
Hello and welcome to a brand new week of Student of the Gun Radio. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've got a little bit of See I Told You So, or See I've Told You So in the past, and pay attention when I tell you so. What else do we have? Well, we've got a lot of goodness, and I want to remind you guys, if you are a fan of fiction, if you're not a fan of fiction, go get a cup of coffee and come back in a couple minutes. But if you are a fan of fiction, or maybe you're just looking to get some mind candy and not pay attention to the bull crap that's going on in the world for a little while, go ahead and pick up this book. What book is that? It is Sin City, The Operator, Book 2. That's right. If you're familiar with our friend Nicholas Orr, he's a relatively new author. And he released his first book a year and a half ago. The first book was released a year and a half ago. It was just called The Operator. And now the second book, Sin City, The Operator, Book 2, in the series is available as a Kindle version or a paperback version on Amazon. And there is a link in the show notes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So if you'd like to just check out from reality for a little while, maybe learn a little something, maybe have a little fun, enjoy some fiction, there you go. If you bought the first book and you enjoyed the first book, well, the second one's out, so get on it. And if you have read this book, it'd be Nicholas Orr, or Nick, would be grateful to you if you would leave a review. Right now, it's so new. The paperback released on the 4th of July, the Kindle released on the 6th of July or the 5th of July. So go ahead and leave a review so that other people can see that as well.
Is Nick your buddy?
Nick's your buddy. Nick's your pal. Nick's the kind of guy that doesn't mind if you puke in his car. The kind of guy you can drink a beer with. Speaking of reviews, you guys know that the Legion of Michael book is out now. Legion of Michael, Defending the Flock, that is out. It is available. It was authored by yours truly, Paul Markle, and many of you have purchased it. You know how I know that? Because I can see the sales stats. So many of you have purchased the Kindle version. Many of you have purchased the paperback version, but only 2 of you have left reviews of the book. So that is not enough. 2 is not enough. So if you read it, if you enjoyed it, if you got it, get your butt over, quit being lazy, get your butt over to Amazon and leave a review so that they can recommend that book to other people and they can learn too. Sound good?
How nice.
Yes, indeed. And thank you to Doug Arnold for being the first person to leave a review of the Legion of Michael book.
Good
All
job,
right, Zach,
Doug.
go ahead.
Good job, Doug.
Good job, Doug. Zach, now you can play the opening music.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
All right. This is normally the time that we go in and we say, congratulations to the Warrior of the Week. This is who they are, and this is what their question is. We don't have a question this week, so we're not going to do that. If you'd like to ask a question, if you're sitting out there thinking, boy, I sure would like Paul or Jared to answer this question for me, or even Zach, you can call 844-207-7684. Leave a clear and concise question. You say, I can't remember that phone number. There you go. It's on the on the monitor for you, and I'm pretty sure we put it in the show notes every week, don't we, Zach?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
I believe
So-
that you can just like click and call from notes on a mobile device because
Yeah.
phones are smart now and they realize that there's a phone number right there. And if you want to
Phone
call it, if I could just tap, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm at the point now. If I go to like a website or something, and if they have a phone number and it's not blue and I can't tap it, I'm sitting over here thinking, what?
They just
What
don't
do you-
want you to call.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, nobody calls anyone anyway, and second of all,
Sad state of affairs.
yeah, if you have to exit out, well, I had some trauma yesterday. I had to call Jared, and I was out and about. All right, but I was in public, so obviously I didn't want to do a speaker call because I don't want everybody hearing everything I'm saying and hearing everything the caller's saying. So I had to hold the phone up to my ear and talk like some kind of a caveman. And we talked for about 25 minutes, and I took my hand away from her. I'm like, I've been holding this phone to my head like 25 minutes. What the?
I hate
God,
that
when's the
'cause
last time I did this?
Seriously, I couldn't remember the last time that I actually made a call, held the phone to my head, and did that. I never
I
did.
hate doing that because all the freaking head ear juice gets all over your phone. You have to wipe it off, and it just smears everywhere.
It's funny because Dad, when I answered the phone, the first thing he said is he just launched right into it. He's like, "Do you ever hold your phone to your head when you talk?" I'm like, and I was like, "Wait, what? Okay, hold on, let me think about this." And then I actually thought about it. And I was like, "No, actually, I usually have headphones or I just use speakerphone."
Right, or you just set it on the desk and you type and you talk into the phone. You're like,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that was.
So I've
I'm gonna admit something to you. I
Go ahead.
actually, before I did that, I held the phone up and I looked to make sure that the speaker configuration that I was right before I put it to my head. It's like, I was looking. I'm like, okay, there's a speaker there. The microphone's down here. Okay, all right, I can do this. This can be done.
personally, I've recently entered the world of the wireless earbuds. And those, yeah, I can make calls on those, get a little speaker in them and everything. And they're great, except for one little thing. There's a button on the outside, right about where it just, I don't know, it's like right up in front of the eardrum, I guess you could say. Where if I feel like I'm on a call, right, I'm talking to the person, it's like, oh, this feels a little loose. I'm going to push it in a little bit.
You're gonna push it back in.
And it hangs up.
Yep. That's the same thing. Like same with mine. If I because they don't fit deeply enough into my ears, even though I have the small thing, they still feel like they're going to slip out.
Yep.
And if you reach up and push it in,
It
you
hangs
tap
up
the
on
button
you.
and it goes bloop.
Yep.
See, Zach, that's what you get for not having an Apple phone because you can't use AirPods.
Yeah. Well, the ones that I have, for some reason, I've tried to pair them to my new phone twice, and the new phone won't recognize them.
New phone's like, does not compute, not Apple device.
Yeah, no,
Sadly.
seriously, the new phone, I'm trying to pair them, the Bluetooth headphones, with the new phone, and it's just doing the spinny thing. And I paired it to
Do you
lots
have
of
your
stuff.
old phone there too?
Not now. I mean, it's in another room, but why?
Okay, because if they're paired with another device, it might affect the ability to pair to the new device. I had that
Okay.
issue with the AirPods when I forgot mine one time when I was trying to connect Alex's AirPods to my phone, but they were connected to hers, so I had to actually do this thing. And I probably didn't have to do this, but I Googled it and it said, "Oh, you can actually hook them so that you can listen to one device out of both things." And I was like, "Oh, that's actually pretty cool." So I did that.
Or you could be like Bert Kreischer, and you could Bluetooth your phone to the TV.
To the
in living
TV. Oh man, that's funny.
What's funny is that's a true story. That's one of those things like that actually could happen. So before you Bluetooth your phone to your TV or something else that somebody is going to listen to, you might think about it. You're like, I don't know, because I don't know how many times have you guys done this? like you open up your phone and there's a video or something. Like yesterday, Jared, when you sent us that Joe Biden hair sniffing video, I clicked on it and I'm like, why is there no volume? And why is it not playing? I looked and I'm like, the volume's turned up. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, oh, because my phone is still attached to the speaker that's in the garage.
Oh yeah, that reminds me of something that happened to me the other day where with the AirPods, you got the little case, you put them in the charge, right?
Yeah.
And if you put them in there, they automatically turn off and just start charging. So I did that, and I had my phone going, I had a video playing. And suddenly, as I was going, it said, your Bluetooth is connected. I was like, what?
What?
Why? I was like, did somebody connect to my phone? That's weird. Okay. And then it took me about 2 minutes to realize, oh, the box ran out of battery, so the headphones turned back on and reconnected to my phone.
Oh, that's funny.
But I was confused for a solid 2 minutes. Like, what the hell?
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Not a flaccid 2 minutes, a solid 2 minutes.
The moral of the story is if you don't want to hear us talking about Bluetooths and new phones, then call in and leave a question.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I don't even remember how we got there.
Yeah, I don't either. But if there would have been a Warrior of the Week question, we wouldn't have been talking about our phones and Bluetooths and blue teeth.
I do need to say congratulations to our buddy Kevin Hammond. He will be visiting us for a precision rifle class.
Yay! And he's got a new rifle.
Yeah, I know. He was telling me about it. I was like, oh,
excited about his new rifle. I hope he has a scope on it. All right. Why don't you? Well, is Kevin Hammond one of the top contributors to the Student of the Gun public group?
He is not. Shame on him.
No?
He might be I don't know if he is a top contributor to Liberty Mastermind or not. But anyway, the Student of the Gun public group, I'm going to pull these top contributors from Facebook because it's super easy. If you're not a Facebook person, then you can go to the Student Lounge. If you just go to studentofthegun.com, click the login button, follow everything from there, you can create a free account and get access to the Student Lounge. Number 10 this week is Andy Duncan. A new name. Look at that. Thank you, Andy. You're a rising star.
Good job.
Bernie Gallenstein, another new name. Adam Montgomery is number 8. 7, Steve Pergantis. 6, Andrew Reinert. 5 is Jeremiah Mason. 4 is Derek Babcock. 3 is Melissa Ridings. 2 is Daniel Larson. And number 1 is Trent Wood. Andy, I need to see you up in the top 3 next week, please. That would be fantastic. Or Bernie, one of you two.
Just throwing that out there, huh?
Yep.
All right. So here we go. Thank you to Duracoat, the sweetest color in the world. Wrong one. Duracoat, because
life is too short to have an ugly gun.
That's right. Life is too short to have an ugly gun. Go to DuracoatFirearmFinishes.com and get yourself some Duracoat and don't have an ugly gun. That's as simple as that. It's really, I'm telling you freaks, it's not that hard. A lot of you guys are out there. You're like, I know, but I looked and I watched this video online from this guy who does, and it just seemed like it was really complicated, and it's not. It's not that complicated. And the truth of the matter is, if you feel like you're stuck or don't know what to do, you can call them. They've got really good people up there, and they'll help you out.
They're like the Ghostbusters. You
they'll
call them,
walk you through it,
and they show up and they help.
Yeah. So, and if you just absolutely can't, you're like, I just can't. I don't want to. You can go there and you can find a list of approved Duracoat firearm finishers. People who have gone to Duracoat University, gotten their diploma in gun finishing, and you can just send it to one of those guys. So there you go. Crossbreed Holsters wants you to be dangerous on demand. How are you dangerous on demand? By actually carrying a gun on your body all the time. What? Yes. Carrying a gun on your body all the time. And if you... I want to make a clarification. Just because you use the promo code SOTG18 doesn't mean that you automatically get the horsehide upgrade. All right? I know if you use the promo code SOTG 18 when you go shopping at Crossbreed Holsters, you're going to save a large percentage, a good percentage off your total price, right? With that savings, if you go ahead and add the horsehide backing, it's essentially like getting the horsehide for free.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The discount pays for the horsehide, but you have to go through the whole process. And I know, and this is probably only like one or two people out of the entire thousands and tens of thousands of audience who thought that I said that you could get the horsehide free using the promo code. Use the promo code. It's going to save you a significant amount of money. And with that money that you saved, go ahead and add the horsehide backing. So essentially what you're going to get is you're going to get a premium holster with the upgrades for the price of a standard one if you use our promo code. And you're welcome. And you're like, so you say, I don't even know what this is all about, Paul. Well, go to crossbreedholsters.com and start searching around, man. You'd be amazed. You'd be like, what? Crazy. I didn't know they had all this stuff. You're welcome. You're welcome. Brownells has everything to go in, on, and around a gun. Everything you need for guns, accessories, optics, pieces and parts, and all that jazz. Magazines. Just take your butt over to brownells.com. And if you want to save some money there, it's really easy. You sign up for their newsletter, and then every time they're running a discount code, they'll let you know.
I have to clarify also something for the Brownells thing. Last week, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I talked about how you can get the Crossbreed holsters on brownells.com. You cannot use the SOTG 18 code to get your discount on Crossbreed holsters on brownells.com.
You mean Brownells doesn't accept the Crossbreed holsters promo code?
Yeah. So you have to make sure if you want to use the promo code, then go to crossbreedholsters.com. If you don't care and you just want to get it from somewhere and you want to support two good businesses, two family-owned, really awesome small businesses, then go to brownells.com and grab a Crossbreed holster.
Well, the ones that Brownells ships or stocks are the quick ship.
Yeah.
Right. You can't go to Brownells and say, okay, I need a left-handed horsehide combat cut with green Kydex. And they'll be like, I'm glad that you want that, but you're at the wrong store. So, but sign up for Brownells newsletter, and you'll never miss a beat. You will never miss a beat. And one other thing I want to tell you guys or remind you guys about the Night Fission sites. Night Fission, F-I-S-I-O-N. So if you took like nuclear fission and squished them together, or night sites and fission, whatever. But it's nightfission.com. They're the guys that are offering the Student of the Gun Accurate sites that we just, well, not just, but we worked with them in the last couple of years to come up with those. Now, Jared actually had an interesting educational moment that he was talking about the other day. Well, Jared, tell people how you use the Accurate sites, not for shooting, but for education.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't realize this was a thing until the other day. I had a family member that was interested in learning to shoot. She hadn't done it in 10 years or so. And so I said, come on over to the house, we'll do some dry fire. And I, like a good student of the gun fashion, I took one of our student of the gun targets that I got from a shop, SOTG, I put it on the wall, and I said, this right here is the thoracic triangle. I explained why that is called the thoracic triangle. It's essentially nose to nipple, and back to nose. And I explained that's where we're going to be doing the dry fire drills. And it was difficult for whatever reason. It was difficult for her to understand how you had to line up the sights, the rear sight and here, if you're watching the video, you see this. That's how you line up the rear sight and the front sights, right? There's the camera right there. We go. I was not doing a good enough job explaining that philosophy. And so what I did is I had a pair of Accurate sights on the pistol. So I shut off the lights and I said, make an 8 with those sights. And she was like, oh, that's way easier to understand. And the reason that you can make an 8 is because the rear sight has it's actually a dimmer version of the tritium because you don't want it to distract your eye from the front sight. And then the front sight's got this bright dot of tritium. So when you line them up correctly, it actually makes an 8. It's dot over dot. And so I said, just make an 8 with that. Put the dot on top of the other dot. She's like, oh, that's great. And then that was when I realized, I was like, oh, that's actually something you could do. Just shut off the lights. And so it was kind of where she was standing, it was dark, but where the target was, it was light, so she could actually see. And so when I flipped off the lights, she's like, oh, that's great. I was like, oh, yeah, that's actually a really good point. So if you're having trouble explaining to somebody how to line up the sights, grab a pair of Accurates and say, just make an 8 with those.
Yep. Pull out your gun and show them. And so the Accurates are available for the Glock 17 slide cut, which is 17, 19, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and all that. For the smaller ones, the Glock 42, 43, 43 X-ray, and 48. And you say, well, I went to their website and it doesn't say 48. It doesn't say 48, but we all know, all of us who own Glocks, okay, I'm carrying a 48 right now. See that? Got my 48, and it has the sights on it. And they are the 42, 43 sights. Shield, they got them for the Shield, and also for the CZ USA P10 Charlie. If you're a CZ cat and you really want accurate sights, which you should, go ahead and get them and put them on there. Something else that I wanted to mention, if you don't, a lot of people are like, well, I've got night sights or whatever because I'm going to shoot in the dark, like complete darkness. A lot of people will, they want to try them out and they'll just like go into a room with no windows, shut the lights off, and it's like pitch black. And they're like, hey, there they are. What really should sell you or help you understand how they work is going from light condition to light condition. Like, for instance, right now, I'm actually looking around. I'm in my studio, and there's a big window there. And off to the one side, it's super bright because there's sun coming in. But off to the far edge over there, it's kind of bathed in shadow. So if you've got these sights and you really want to get the understanding of how they work and why they work, just unload your gun to put the live ammo away and then walk through your house and go from light condition, from really bright, normal light to dim to super dark back out again, and you'll see that. You're like, oh, now I see. Yes. And that's exactly how the real world is, because you don't know. You cannot control the light conditions when you have to use your gun.
Yep.
And
that's
the way it is.
One thing, and not to go off on a further tangent here, but I'm going to do it anyway. That's one thing that I really appreciate about the indoor range that we have here, TNT, is that they're you get your own booth, and the whatever lights or whatever setup they have for the target line, I don't know what that's called, but it's from Action Target, and you can actually control the lights that are in the booth, but you can also control the lighting that's on the target. And inside the booth, you can either turn lights off, turn them on. You can have, if you're a cop, you can practice with, they have built-in police lights, because that's even more of a distraction with the flashing police lights. And so that's something that I did the other day. I was like, oh, let's play with these light things. And so if you have an indoor range, I much prefer outdoor ranges because it's beautiful here, and there's a lot you can do in an outdoor range that you can't do in an indoor range most of the time. And but if you have an indoor range, that's a great place to be able to control the lighting. If you don't have a place you can do night shooting.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That is the best place really to practice with flashlights and night sights and so forth, is at an indoor range. Just make sure you're wearing a condom. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right. And one other thing I need to make, it was just pointed out to me that I misused a word. I said the word opaque, and what I meant to say was translucent.
When did you do that?
A while back when I was talking about night vision sights. The polymer that they use in the front sight, the colored polymer, whether it's white or yellow or orange or whatever, it's actually translucent.
Yeah, so it kind of amplifies the tritium.
It allows the tritium light transmission to go through the plastic, the polymer. All right, so let's go ahead and, if you're a new listener, perk up your ears. And if you're an old listener, you can still listen. You're loud. Or go get a coffee, whatever.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a complimentary online training course called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. Get instant access by joining the Student Lounge for free at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of these questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
Yes, indeed, that is the case. Go to studentofthegun.com and check out everything we have to offer for you. All right, I'm going to go through these rather quickly, but I want you, ladies and gentlemen out there in my audience, to be armed with the facts and understand. I know a lot of, fear drives, panic, and fear and panic are the best avenue to control. Fear is the greatest avenue to control when it comes to the state. You make the people afraid, you create a boogeyman, and then they will submit to you and you can control them. We shared this story the other day on our socialist media, and I was very gratified that our audience jumped in and they started throwing in other examples. They're like, oh yeah, there's this, but did you know this example? Did you know this example? Did you know this? Boom, 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 boom. So this is not anecdotal. This is not a one-time thing. This is something that's going on all across the country. So we're being told now that we have to wear masks by these various governors and mayors, and we're ordering you based on all of these positive test numbers. Now, if you actually go to the CDC and you look up COVID deaths, the deaths are down. Even the fake deaths, even they had pneumonia, but they tested positive for COVID. So when they died, we called them a COVID death. The guy had terminal cancer, but he also had COVID. So it's a COVID death. No, that's a lie, but whatever. We know that communist scumbag in New York inflated his numbers by thousands of deaths. But what's going on with these? And Jared, one of our personal friends, and I'm not going to say his name on the radio because he didn't give him permission to, but one of our personal friends said that they have a scare at their place of business because the boss tested positive for COVID with a nasal swab, right? So he went to the doctor for a detailed examination. They did blood work, and they're like, no, it's negative.
Yeah.
What? How does that happen? How does that happen? How do these nasal swabs come back positive, but it's really not positive? Jared, will you go ahead and hip us to this first question? I'll let you read the first story here, the Orange County story. This is from the 3rd of July, so just a week ago.
Oh, I think I clicked on the wrong one. Yeah, I did. Okay. Orange County inflated its coronavirus test numbers by mistakenly including antibody tests, officials say. Mistakenly, they say.
Mistakenly. The
total number of COVID-19 tests conducted in Orange County was mistakenly inflated. I almost said infiltrated, for more than a month, beginning in late April, in data released to the public. An error that may have painted a rosier picture of the pandemic than the reality in the region. Huh, interesting. It's all coming out now. Look at that. For roughly 5 weeks, county staff incorrectly added 30,000 serology tests to its quote-unquote cumulative tests to date figure, which made it appear that more testing for the virus was the case. The cumulative testing figure reported by the county is supposed to be a count of how many diagnostic tests which detect whether someone was infected with the virus at the moment of testing were conducted countywide. Dr. Clayton Chow, director of the Orange County Health Care Agency and the county's interim health officer, said during a media briefing on Thursday. And this is, again, Dateline July 3rd, I believe, right? Yeah.
Yeah. 1 week ago today.
Yep. Serology tests, which officials say are not meant to include the cumulative testing figure, determine whether the body has mounted an immune response to the virus in recent weeks or months. Those tests are not reliable in determining whether someone is sick at the moment of testing. This is a quote from Chow. I would like to sincerely apologize for any confusion this matter has caused for the community in the future. Here it is. In the future, he and his team say that they will be more transparent with respect to the data that informs policy and personal health decisions of our residents. Mm-hmm. The error first occurred on April 28th when Health Services staff downloaded lab results from the California Reportable Disease Information Exchange, CRDIE. That's not very cool. and they mistakenly captured serology tests as part of the all COVID tests report. The information was then published on the county's website, and the mistake continued undetected until June 3rd. So April, May, June, that's about a month and a week. When county leadership became aware of the issue and immediately stopped including serology tests in the testing figure. But it took officials until June 26th to remove the incorrect data from the county's website. He said that the county was prepared. This is a long article. Do you want me to read this whole thing?
Yeah, you can go ahead and cut it off right now. Basically, here's the thing. We were told that there's so many. And we're like, oh, we have to stay in our homes. We have to wear masks. We have to shut down businesses. No one's allowed to go to work. No one's allowed to go to work except for Walmart and Lowe's and Amazon and these big monster companies. The huge monster companies are allowed to stay open. Small businesses have to be closed. Gun shops, LA, have to be closed. We're going to send sheriff's deputies out to close gun shops because they're not allowed. Somebody tagged a story here. It was from the DallasNews.com. I'm going to go ahead and read this. It says, another negative COVID result for Rangers outfielder Joey Gallo raises questions about test accuracy. So essentially what happened with this poor guy is he had two nasal swabs. He had a nasal swab, and it said it was positive. And they're like, okay, let's do more detailed lab analysis of your blood. And they did that, and they're like, no, it's negative. And then they did it again. They're like, oh, here's a nasal, it's positive. And they're like, so he did it again. And he's like, no, it's negative. And so they're like, you ask the dude, like, are you sick? You coughing, fever, stuff like that? No. Well, but the nasal swab says you have COVID. So this is, it's like I said, the anecdotal evidence before, that one of our friends reported that at their work, the boss supposedly, got COVID, right? They did the nasal swab, and they're like, you have COVID. The world's going to end, and everyone's going to die. And he goes to the doctor, and they draw blood, and they do labs, and they're like, no, you don't. Well, what is it here, Jack? So how many of the, and some of our other listeners said that, one of our listeners said that in Wisconsin, they sent in a handful of unused swabs to be tested by the, to get the results back from the lab, and the lab sent them back as positive. Yeah. So they busted them open, put them in a little plastic containers, sent them off, and they sent them back. They're like, yeah, positive. And another one of our listeners said that happened. This was Wisconsin, the first one. They said that happened in their state too, where these nurses sent in unused, untested, never been in anybody's nose, send them away to the lab. They come back there like, yeah, positive. What? Now you say, oh, those are just a couple of anecdotal things. Yeah, but there's a lot of anecdotes going on here. This isn't just one time. This isn't one like, oh, well, one time one person made a mistake, Paul. This is one time. Every other corona test is positive. So And somebody else actually shared a word, May, and they said, imagine a disease so deadly that you had to be tested to find out whether you had it. So Zach and I were on the phone the other day, and I said something about, we need to find out who the leading manufacturer of masks is and figure out how much money they're donating to political campaigns. And he's like, oh, well, you know, like, I don't know what you said. What did you say, Zach?
I said, is it like, what I'm pretty sure I said was, I'm sure there's a bunch of them.
3M is a big one.
Yep. Oh, I've got that. I've got the
3M is they actually, I was talking to a person that works for 3M Peltor, and that division of the company, their hands are pretty much tied because 3M is throwing all of their efforts at other things like, COVID response and whatnot.
Yeah. So now something else that and one of our fans pointed out, because you guys are smart, and I'm proud of you because you listen and you pay attention and you're engaged. So someone said, follow the money. Ladies and gentlemen, follow the money. If you want to know why lies are happening, you want to know why misinformation is happening, mistakes are happening. What did we tell you over a month ago about how one of our listeners said they went in and they had like a common cold or whatever, and they were diagnosed with the Rona and sent home. We're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. And that's another thing that a lot of people are not being told. We're being told that hospitals are overwhelmed and it's a crisis. But what I also know is that people are going to these hospitals, being diagnosed, told they have the Kung flu, and then sent home. They're like, go home, stay away from other people, and drink chicken soup. How are hospitals overwhelmed if they're diagnosing them with the Kung flu and sending them home? How does that overwhelm the hospital? Now, something that one of our fans pointed out, they're like, yeah, but remember, Paul, what did you say about why are these doctors in these hospitals being encouraged to come up with positive tests for the Rona? Because of the money. Because of the money. Okay, this Orange County. What county or what state is Orange County in? California.
Oh, California, yeah.
Yeah. So we've got from BeckerHospitalReview.com, and it's from May 24th. So this was all the way back in May. When they were giving out Rona money. Remember? Because if you're in a hospital and you're a doctor and a guy comes in and he's like coughing and he's like, I don't feel good, I got fever and stuff, you diagnose that guy with common cold, standard flu, pneumonia, whatever, you don't get any bonus money. But if a guy comes in with pneumonia symptoms or flu symptoms and you diagnose him with the Kung flu, you get a cash payment. Congratulations to you. So, California, which is where Orange County is, and this happened from April to May. All of these accidental overcounting of Rona patients, right? It accidentally happened right when the government was handing out free money. I'm sure this is just a coincidence, Paul. This is a total, and here's the thing, now they've got their money, so they can say, oh, we made a mistake.
Well, you know what happens when we saw it when the oil spill where people were claiming a bunch of extra money that they supposedly made, and then a couple of years later the federal government came back, essentially the IRS came back and said, hey, based upon your previous tax returns, this money that you claimed that you had been getting, you actually weren't, so you've got to pay that back. And so those were to individuals. So I wonder if the same thing's going to happen when. Are
you going to hold your breath waiting for California to pay back $540 million?
No, because they don't have the money.
So here's what California got. This story from May 4th. So all through April and into the beginning of May, when Orange County was over counting positive COVID tests, California was given $542 million in COVID aid from the federal government. I'm sure that that's just a complete and total coincidence. And I'm sure that waiting until July to announce the mistake is just a complete, because they've already got the cash. They already got the money. They already passed it out. Everybody, here's the money.
I can't find an actual, like this article, I can't find an actual source on where they're getting these numbers.
Which one?
The numbers, like the money that's being sent to these states, it's there in this article, but I can't find their source documentation, so I don't know where that information came from.
Well, if you guys want a question, it's BeckerHospitalReview.com. So I said follow the money. Now let's move on. So now how many, you guys remember all the congressmen that dumped stock the day or 2 days before announcing the pandemic, right? You guys remember that? We talked about it. Like those people who were in the big meeting, they had the big Corona meeting. They're like, hey, something's coming, and we're just about to hit the panic switch. Don't tell anybody, but we're going to hit the panic switch. So at least 5 congressmen that we know of, and my thought process is okay, if it was 5, it was 50, went out and dumped stock, right before they announced the pandemic, right before they came out, right before the stock market tanked because of the panic. Okay, it's back now, but it tanked. So what happens when congressmen know that their vote or their actions are going to affect the industry? We got then. This is a story from 2015. You say, well, Paul, that this is 2020 and it doesn't matter. Hang on a second. From statnews.com, exclusive: investments give lawmakers personal stake in biotech and healthcare companies. So we're finding out, they did an expose that there are senators who are heavily invested in biotech and healthcare.
And this is from a few, like 2015.
2015, that they were invested in Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Merck, Abbott Labs, and so on. One of these guys really stepped in it. Christopher Collins from New York, a representative from New York, Chris Collins. And you say, well, hey, I've heard that name. Why have I heard that name? Let's fast forward 5 years. Fast forward 5 years to right now, May 29th, 2020. Chris Collins' attorneys ask for a delay in the start of his prison sentence due to the COVID-19. You're like, what? Yeah. So they did the story in 2015 about these congressmen that were heavily invested in these companies that were being affected by legislation that they were voting on. Does that sound like insider trading to you, Jared?
Yeah.
It's like, Collins was sentenced in January to 26 months incarceration for lying to the FBI as a part of a racketeering, insider trading scandal. But he doesn't want to. Here's the irony. He doesn't want to have to go to jail because of the Rona. So that is a real world example of politicians, okay, being invested in companies that they're going to rule over, right? And I asked you, how many people are invested in these mask companies? So, Jared, it's funny that you already knew off the top of your head that 3M was a leading manufacturer. There's a story from April 20th. It says, face mask market, the top countries data, industry brief, blah, blah, blah. Who are the number one manufacturers of protective face masks in the world. Right? You go down. We've got a rogues gallery. Bing, bang, boom. 3M.
Oh, that's funny. They're number one.
Number one. Honeywell, Kawa, Uvex. Now, there's this real cool thing that you can do on the internet. You can take a corporation's name and you can search political donations and find out what the political donations are for this company. So I did. And there's a website called opensecrets.com, and they use the Freedom of Information Act to discover. Now, here's the interesting. 3M has lots and lots of government contracts, right? 3M is the company that got sued in a class action over their earplugs not working properly and thousands of veterans getting tinnitus and hearing loss and so forth. There's a big class action lawsuit against 3M for those. If all you vets, the yellow on one side, green on the other side earplugs that 3M made that they were giving out, turned out you would have been better off using just the old fashioned foamy ones. See, that's how the Army is. We've been issuing the yellow foamy plugs to troops for years and years and years and years. And they probably cost a nickel a piece, a dime a piece. They're like, you know what? Why are we spending a dime a piece for earplugs when we could spend $5 for a set? Wouldn't that make more sense? So what did they do? They bought these plugs from 3M, issued them to the troops. They didn't work, and 3M got caught up in a class action lawsuit. So 3M is trying to make up money. They're trying to make back money from this class action lawsuit. And it says the organization itself, because they have direct government contracts, they're not allowed to directly give money to politicians, right? So here's what they do. They give money or they donate money to organizations, PACs, that's a political action committee, or individual members, employees, owners, or family members make donations. So think about it like this. Say, well, 3M needs whatever, a contract, or they need, help or whatever. But they can't. But the wife of the CEO of 3M can. They can form a political action committee and donate money to a party. All right. Employees can. So you say, all right, well, I don't know. Let's take a look. The top recipient of money from 3M was Bernie Sanders. The second top recipient of money was Amy Klobuchar, whatever. That scumbag Democrat from Minnesota. The third highest recipient of money, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. The fourth highest recipient of money from them, the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. And then they're like, well, we got to smooth it out. So the next two are the Republican Senate Committee and the Republican Congressional Committee. That's 6 and 7. Then Donald Trump is 8. Then right below him, number 9, Joe Biden. Then the very bottom one, this is kind of gross. That disgraced mayor from, where was Buttface, the mayor of Indianapolis or something like that? That freakazoid who wanted to be president, Pete Buttigieg.
He was from crap.
He was a mayor of a city.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Oh,
it was Indiana somewhere, but I can't remember the city name.
Yeah. So these are all people who 3M has donated money to, and you're like, well, that doesn't prove anything, Paul. Just because. Okay, just because. But you, as intelligent listeners, You got to follow the money. Ladies and gentlemen, Politics 101, they do nothing without calculating who's going to make money and who's going to be in charge and how much control they can have. If you really think that that this Rona panic is about public safety and health and welfare, I'm sorry, but you're a fool. When they shut down, I'll believe that the Rona is a national danger, and I'm not going to say airports, but airports. When they close Walmart, in addition to coffee shops and barbers and so forth, close the Walmart. Order Walmart closed. Order Amazon closed. Jeff Bezos just made himself, a extra $1 billion on top of what he was going to do because everyone's afraid to go to a store, so they sit home ordering from Amazon. When Amazon and Walmart are closed down and no one can go in there, then I'll believe, okay, that the Rona is a real threat. When they close the airports, the bus lines, and the trains and stop letting people from New York City get on airplanes and fly all over the country, then I'll believe that the Rona is a serious threat. Okay? We can't look at each other. You can't look at me and say, it's a terrible threat, it's a serious threat, it's a pandemic. We have to do something. All right, what are we doing? We're making everyone wear masks. Yeah, but you're letting people in at ground zero get on plane. All right, never in the history of any plague in the world did you ever let people that were affected by the plague quarantines for sick people, right? It's not for healthy people, it's for sick people. Can you imagine, Jared, that somebody had the bubonic plague and they're like, well, I want to go visit my cousins in California. Well, all right, but make sure you wear a mask. Okay, bye. I'm going to get on a plane in New York, fly to California. Would they allow that? No, they wouldn't allow that. So all of you folks out there, you've got to be smarter than the average bear. You cannot be ruled by emotion. You cannot be ruled by fear. And if you want, we've given you all the information, all the ammo here. And if you wanted to, I mean, the list is too extensive for me to go over, but you could go. I just gave you a link to the top manufacturers of masks who stand to make billions of dollars through this forced mask wearing crap, right? When the government says you have to buy this product and you have to use this product, the people who make those are going to make billions. Honeywell, 3M, COA, whatever. Go down and just plug in that name and political contributions, and you could find out how much money they have funneled into the pockets of Republicans or Democrats or individual candidates. And then you scratch your head and say, wow, this doesn't really seem like it's about health and safety. It seems about shuffling. Who's going to shuffle the money to whom? We just pointed out Orange County lied about their numbers, inflated them, and California got $540 million in COVID relief based on lies. There you go. Don't you feel good as a taxpayer? Tax day's coming up. The government wants your money. Those sons of bitches, and bleep it if you want, in Washington are sitting there telling you, you better pony up so we can take it and throw it out the back door and give it to our friends. Don't you feel good about being a taxpayer, knowing that you're being defrauded at every step of the way? Does it make you feel good? Yeah. All right. All right. Go about your life with facts and information, not fear and emotion. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be back on Wednesday. We've got a bunch more to talk about. We're going to do a little bit of I've got the Art of War here. We're going to talk about Chapter 4 in the Art of War. And more goodness for you guys. Remember, you're a beginner once.
You're a student for life.
We appreciate your reviews. If you haven't left a review or updated yours recently, Head on over to Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast player to voice your opinion. Don't forget to join us at the Student Lounge, a place for like-minded individuals to learn, connect, and support each other. No chicanery will be tolerated. Remember to check studentofthegun.com daily for new, free content and giveaways. Watch, listen, read, shop, and connect at studentofthegun.com. Are you a social butterfly? Connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for new content each and every day at Student of the Gun. Watch Student of the Gun TV and videos from our trusted partners on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Chromecast, and even AirPlay. Go to studentofthegun.com for direct links, and remember, you're a beginner once, a student for life.